The second week of the Elloran visit began with expanded cultural exchanges. Samantha organized a series of presentations about human history, art, and science, while the Ellorans shared glimpses of their own civilization through holographic displays and musical compositions that seemed to touch emotions directly. What began as formal diplomatic meetings evolved into something more personal, especially between Samantha and Lyra. The tall Elloran sought Samantha out each evening after official meetings had concluded. Do humans always compartmentalize their knowledge this way? Lyra asked one evening as they walked through the station's botanical garden. The space had been designed to provide crew members with a connection to Earth featuring plants from various regions. What do you mean? Samantha asked, watching how the artificial lighting played across Lyra's features, highlighting the subtle patterns on her skin. You separate science from art, politics from spirituality, personal from professional. Lyra gestured to the various plants. Each of these grows according to its nature, yet you humans try to grow in prescribed patterns, dividing yourselves. Samantha considered this. It helps us organize our thoughts and society, I suppose. But you're right. Sometimes the divisions are artificial. In my field, xenoanthropology, we try to look at cultures as integrated wholes. Lyra made that musical sound that Samantha now recognized as appreciation. You think differently than most of your colleagues. I have observed Commander Kim thinks in strategic patterns. Dr. Lee thinks in mathematical sequences, but you think in connections. It's just how my mind works, Samantha said, feeling strangely exposed under Lyra's perceptive gaze. It is beautiful, Lyra said simply. Among my people, such thinking is highly valued, the ability to see patterns between seemingly disparate elements. This is why I was chosen as first voice. They reached a small bench nestled among flowering plants from Earth's tropical regions. The sweet scent of jasmine filled the air as they sat. Samantha noticed that Lyra always maintained a precise distance between them, never closer than arm's length. Can I ask you something personal? Samantha ventured. Lyra tilted her head, her cosmic eyes swirling with new patterns. I would welcome such exchange. Why do Ellorans avoid physical contact with humans? I've noticed you and your delegation are careful to minimize touching. Lyra's facial ridges rippled in what Samantha had learned, indicated surprise and amusement. You are observant. We avoid casual contact because Ellorans are bioelectric sensory beings. Touch for us is an intense experience, especially with humans. Your species produces electromagnetic fields that are chaotic, by our standards. Touching a human is like what you might experience standing in a lightning storm. Samantha's eyes widened. Is it painful? Not painful? Lyra's voice took on a musical quality. Overwhelming information, emotional states, memories they transfer. Upon contact, your thoughts are very loud. Samantha weighed. The way Lyra said her name sent an unexpected shiver through Samantha. So when we shook hands when you arrived, I experienced a momentary connection to your consciousness. Lyra confirmed it was fascinating. You were thinking how beautiful you found my eyes, comparing them to something called nebulae. Samantha felt heat rise to her cheeks. You read my mind, only surface thoughts that you projected strongly. Lyra clarified. Ellorans consider deep mind reading without permission to be highly inappropriate. But humans project their thoughts and emotions so intensely, it is difficult not to sense them. That explains why you always know what I'm feeling, Samantha said. Lyra made a gesture with her six-fingered hand that Samantha had learned indicated confirmation. It is why the confluence sent us rather than other species. Ellorans are best equipped to handle human emotional intensity. Other species. Samantha straightened. This was the first mention of additional alien civilizations. Lyra seemed to realize she had shared something unplanned. Her ridges flattened slightly. Yes, the galaxy contains many sentient species united in what you might call a loose confederation. The decision to contact humanity was debated for decades. Some believed you were not ready, and the Ellorans advocated for contact. Not all of us, Lyra admitted. Some feared your species' rapid development and unpredictability. The faction I represent believes in communication, rather than isolation. Samantha processed this revelation. So there are aliens out there who didn't want first contact. Lyra's expression grew serious. Some wished to wait longer. Others, the Vrex particularly, advocated for containment. Samantha repeated the word carefully. What does that mean? Limiting human expansion to your solar system, monitoring and controlling your technological development. The Vrex consider rapidly evolving species, potentially destabilizing. Samantha felt a chill that had nothing to do with the station's temperature, but that would mean interfering with our natural development. Yes, Lyra said, and that is why my faction fought for direct diplomatic contact instead. We believe understanding is preferable to fear, but I have spoken too freely of galactic politics. This information was scheduled for formal disclosure next week. Samantha found herself reaching out, placing her hand over Lyra's, before she could consider the implications. I'm glad you told me. The moment their skin touched. Samantha felt a tingling sensation race up her arm. A cascade of impressions flooded her mind. Stars seen from unfamiliar skies, musical languages that conveyed concepts beyond words, the vastness of time as experienced by a being who lived for centuries. She saw herself through Lyra's perception, a fascinating creature of contradictions, fierce yet gentle, complex yet transparent, burning brightly with emotions and thoughts that radiated like sunlight. Lyra gently withdrew her hand, her cosmic eyes wide with surprise. You felt that? Yes, Samantha whispered. Was that how you see me? A fraction only. Lyra's voice had taken on a deeper resonance. Contact works both ways. I experienced your perception as well. For several moments they sat in silence, the implications of this shared experience hanging between them. Finally, Samantha spoke. Do all Ilorans connect this way with each other? Yes, Lyra explained. It is our primary form of deep communication. But connection with other species is rare. Humans are the first we have encountered whose minds are compatible enough for even surface sharing. Is that why the confluence chose to contact us? It is one reason, Lyra acknowledged. There are others. Similarities in how our species perceive beauty, create art, value knowledge. Your capacity for adaptation mirrors our own in different ways. Their conversations continued over the following days, growing increasingly personal. Samantha learned about Lyra's life as a diplomat, about Eloran art and philosophy, about their homeworld with its 3 moons and perpetual auroras. In turn, she shared human literature, music, and history. Each evening after their talks, they would part at the door to the diplomatic quarters, and each evening, it became more difficult to say goodnight. 2 weeks into the Eloran visit, Samantha received a private message from Captain Kim requesting her presence in the secure communications room. When she arrived, the captain was reviewing a transmission, her expression grave. Commander Wade. We have a situation, Captain Kim said, gesturing Samantha to a seat. Orbital telescopes have detected multiple objects approaching at high speed. Their configuration matches nothing in our databases but the Eloran. Vessel is showing signs of alarm. Have you spoken with the delegation? Samantha asked. Not yet. We wanted your assessment first. As our liaison officer, you have the most direct knowledge of our guests. Samantha considered the implications. The timing was suspicious, coming just as relations with the Elorans were developing positively. Lyra's words about species who opposed contact with humanity echoed in her mind. I believe we should speak with first voice. Lyra immediately. Samantha said, I have reason to think these may be representatives of another alien faction, one not friendly to human interests. Captain Kim's eyebrows rose. You have information you haven't shared. Commander only. Speculation based on cultural exchanges. Samantha explained carefully. But if I'm right, we need to prepare for potential conflict. Captain Kim studied Samantha for a long moment. Very well. Bring first voice Lyra here. We need answers before those ships arrive. The stars looked different from Unity Station, Samantha Wade thought, as she stared out the observation window. Earth hung like a blue marble in the distance, while the vast emptiness of space stretched beyond. Commander Samantha Wade had been stationed on Unity for 6 months now, and the view still took her breath away. A soft beep from her communication device interrupted her thoughts. Captain Kim was calling all senior staff to the main conference room. Straightening her uniform, Samantha took one last look at Earth before heading to the meeting. The corridors of Unity Station buzzed with unusual energy, crew members speaking in hushed, excited tones. Samantha caught fragments of conversations as she passed, most containing the word aliens. She quickened her pace, Captain. Kim stood at the head of the conference table, her usually calm face tight with tension. Around her sat the other department heads, all wearing similar expressions of nervous anticipation. Captain Kim nodded as Samantha entered. Then she activated the main screen. First contact, she said simply. The words hung in the air as the screen displayed an image of a sleek vessel unlike any human design. Its surface shimmered with an opalescent glow that seemed to shift and change as they watched. They call themselves the Alorans, Captain. Kim continued. They initiated contact 3 days ago and have requested permission to send a diplomatic delegation to Unity Station. A murmur ran through the assembled officers. Questions flew across the table about safety protocols, translation capabilities, and security measures. Samantha listened carefully, studying the image of the alien ship. Her background in xenoanthropology made her the natural choice for what came next. Commander Wade, Captain Kim said, turning to Samantha. You will serve as the primary liaison to the Aloran delegation. Your expertise in theoretical alien cultures is now going to be tested in practice. Samantha felt a mix of excitement and terror course through her veins. She had spent her career preparing for this moment, studying every scrap of speculative xenology available. Yet now that first contact had actually happened, she wondered if anyone could truly be prepared. The Aloran ship will dock tomorrow morning, Captain Kim continued. Commander Wade will assemble a welcome team. Proper protocols are being established now. The rest of you will ensure your departments are prepared for our guests. Remember, we are representing not just Unity Station, but all of humanity. The next 24 hours passed in a blur of preparations. Samantha reviewed the limited communications they had received from the Alorans, learning what she could about their language and customs. The aliens had provided basic information about their physiology, indicating they could breathe Earth-normal atmosphere, though they preferred slightly higher oxygen levels. Samantha slept little that night. Her mind raced with possibilities. What would the Alorans look like? What was their society like? Would they find humans as strange as humans would surely find them? All her years of theoretical study were about to be tested against reality. Morning arrived too quickly. Samantha stood in the docking bay with Captain Kim and a small welcome team. The station's artificial gravity had been adjusted slightly to match what the Elorans had described as comfortable. A specialized atmosphere mix flowed through this section of the station. The docking procedure completed. With precision, a soft hiss indicated pressure equalization. Then, after a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, the airlock door slid open. Samantha forgot how to breathe. 5 figures stood in the doorway, but it was their leader who captured Samantha's complete attention. The Aloran woman stood nearly 7 feet tall with skin that seemed to capture and reflect starlight in subtle patterns. Her eyes were large and luminous, containing swirls of violet and indigo that reminded Samantha of distant nebulae. She moved with impossible grace despite the unfamiliar environment. Captain Kim nudged Samantha gently. Commander Wade. They're waiting. Samantha blinked and stepped forward, extending her hand as practiced. Welcome to Unity Station. I am Commander Samantha Wade, your liaison during your stay with us. The Aloran leader tilted her head, studying Samantha with those cosmic eyes, before mimicking the gesture, her 6-fingered hand enveloping Samantha's. I am Lyra, Void Toucher, first voice of the Aloran confluence. Your vibration patterns indicate nervous excitement. Is our appearance distressing? Not distressing. Samantha managed. Impressive. A sound like wind chimes filled the room as the Aloran delegation communicated among themselves. Lyra's expression shifted subtly, her facial ridges relaxing. You honor us, Commander. The impression is mutual. Humans possess a fascinating energy signature. The initial meeting proceeded smoothly with introductions and basic exchange of information. Captain Kim welcomed the delegation officially and explained that Commander Wade would be their primary point of contact during their stay. Samantha led the Alorans on a tour of their quarters, which had been prepared according to the specifications they had sent ahead. The aliens moved with a fluid grace that made even the most basic actions seem like choreographed dance. "I hope these accommodations will be suitable," Samantha said as they entered the diplomatic suite. Lyra moved around the space, her head tilted in what Samantha was beginning to recognize as curiosity. "The space is adequate. The energy flows are somewhat chaotic, but not unpleasant. Is this representative of human living arrangements?" "Not exactly," Samantha explained. "These are diplomatic quarters. We tried to make them comfortable based on the information you provided about Elleran preferences." Lyra made that wind chime sound again, which Samantha now suspected might be laughter, thoughtful. "Yet another interesting quality. We observe in humans you anticipate needs of others even when lacking complete information." Over the next few days, Samantha spent hours with the Aloran delegation learning their customs and explaining human ways. The Alorans were surprisingly open, sharing information about their civilization which they called the Confluence. They explained that they had been observing Earth for nearly a century, monitoring human development and debating when to make contact. Humans progress so rapidly, Lyra explained during one of their cultural exchange sessions. Most species require thousands of years to advance from primitive flight to space exploration. You accomplished it in less than 1 century. This rate of adaptation is unprecedented in our record. Samantha found herself drawn to Lyra. The alien woman possessed a calm wisdom that seemed ancient, yet her curiosity about humans was childlike in its enthusiasm. Lyra asked endless questions about everything from human art to family structures to emotional responses. Similarly, Samantha learned that the Ellerans communicated partially through subtle bioelectric fields which explained their musical speech patterns and graceful movements. They lived extraordinarily long lives by human standards, with Lyra casually mentioning that she had seen 400 cycles of her home star. As the first week of the diplomatic mission came to a close, Samantha realized something significant was happening, not just between their species but between herself and Lyra. Something that transcended professional curiosity, something that felt strangely like connection. Samantha found Lyra in the diplomatic quarters surrounded by her delegation. The Alorans were gathered around a holographic display, their normally graceful movements sharp with tension. They fell silent as Samantha entered. "You know what's coming," Samantha said. It wasn't a question. Lyra dismissed the other Ellerans with a gesture, waiting until they had left before responding. "The Vreks have found us sooner than anticipated. We had hoped for more time. Captain Kim requests your presence." Samantha said then, after a pause, "She wants answers." "So do I." Lyra's cosmic eyes held Samantha's gaze. "I will provide them." They walked in silence to the secure communications room, where Captain Kim waited with her senior staff. The tension in the air was palpable as Lyra entered. The captain activated a display showing the approaching vessels, 7 ships in tight formation. Captain Kim said, "Their design is unlike anything in our database. They are not responding to hails and will reach Unity Station in approximately 6 hours. Your assessment." First voice. "Lyra, they are Vrex warships." Lyra confirmed, her voice grave. "They have come in response to our diplomatic mission." Why Samantha's question came before she could stop herself. Lyra turned those cosmic eyes toward her. "The Vrex Imperium believes humanity represents a destabilizing force in the galaxy. They fear your potential, your adaptability, creativity, unpredictability. These qualities make you dangerous in their assessment." Captain Kim leaned forward. "So, this is a preemptive strike." "Not precisely," Lyra explained. "The Vrex consider our diplomatic approach a violation of containment protocols. They come first to retrieve us, then they will establish a quarantine boundary around your solar system, preventing human expansion beyond it. Quarantine." Samantha repeated the word, anger rising in her chest. "Containing us like a disease. That is their perspective. Yes. Lyra acknowledged, her facial ridges flattened in what Samantha now recognized as regret. We hoped to establish relations with humanity before the Vrex could act. The Aloran Confluence believes in communication rather than isolation, but we underestimated their response time, and now they've brought warships to our doorstep. Captain Kim's voice was cold. How do you suggest we proceed? First voice. Since your arrival has brought this threat. Lyra stood tall, her dignified presence filling the room. The Vrex expected to find us alone with you, unprepared. They do not understand humans as we have come to. They believe you are primitives easily cowed by superior technology. And what do you believe? Samantha asked. That humans are remarkably resourceful when threatened, Lyra replied. That you have spent centuries imagining alien invasions in your fiction and preparing for worst-case scenarios. That you fight fiercely to protect what you value. Captain Kim studied the alien woman before turning to her staff commander Walsh. What is our defensive capability? The tactical officer straightened. Unity Station was designed as a scientific and diplomatic outpost, but we have defense systems, point defense lasers, shield generators, and a small complement of armed shuttles. We also have prototype electromagnetic pulse generators designed for deflecting space debris. They might be effective against alien systems, not enough against 7 warships, Captain Kim said grimly. If I may, Lyra interjected. The Vrex rely heavily on automated systems and predictable attack patterns. They expect compliance, not resistance. Their ships are powerful but rigid in their tactics. Samantha saw where Lyra was heading. They don't expect us to fight. They expect surrender or destruction. Lyra confirmed. They do not expect innovation. A plan began to form in Samantha's mind. Captain, what if we use the station's rotation and gravity generators to create a distortion field? It might confuse their targeting systems long enough for us to deploy the EMP devices. Lieutenant Patel. The engineering officer nodded slowly. We could modify the external maintenance drones to carry the EMP generators. Deploy them in a spherical pattern around the station and the Aloran ship, Captain Kim asked. Turning to Lyra. Would your vessel assist in our defense? Lyra's ridges rippled, with what might have been amusement. The Confluence sent a diplomatic vessel, not a warship, but we can provide detailed information on Vrex shield frequencies and system vulnerabilities. For the next 5 hours, Unity Station transformed the crew, working with a focused intensity born of necessity. Engineers modified equipment while tactical officers programmed defense patterns. The Alorans provided critical intelligence on Vrex technology, revealing weaknesses that could be exploited. Samantha worked alongside Lyra, their earlier tension replaced by unified purpose. As they finalized the defense strategy, Samantha found a moment to ask the question that had been bothering her. Why did you really come to us? Was it just to beat the Vrex? Lyra's expression softened, her cosmic eyes swirling with complex emotions. We came because in all our studies of your species we found something remarkable. You humans live such brief lives compared to Alorans. Yet you create beautiful art, profound philosophy, and impressive technology. You love fiercely, dream boldly, and face mortality with courage. The Confluence believes we have much to learn from each other. That connection is preferable to isolation. Samantha felt something shift between them, a deepening of understanding. But she had no time to explore it as alarms began to sound throughout the station. They're here. Captain Kim's voice came over the communication system. All personnel to emergency stations, defense protocols initiated. Commander Wade, secure the diplomatic delegation. Samantha led Lyra and the other Elorans to the station's central core, where the reinforced diplomatic quarters were located. Unity Station rocked with the first impact as Vrex weapons fire connected with the outer shields. They will not stop. Lyra said, her voice tight with concern. The Vrex consider diplomacy with humans a betrayal of galactic security. They will disable this station and extract us by force. Then they shouldn't have introduced themselves by shooting at us. Samantha replied grimly as she secured the final door. Stay here, I need to report to the bridge. Lyra caught Samantha's arm, her touch sending that now familiar tingle across Samantha's skin. Be careful. The Vrex are methodical but dangerous. I will Samantha promised. Then on impulse she leaned forward and pressed her lips briefly to Lyra's cheek. Before the Aloran could respond, Samantha turned and hurried toward the bridge. The battle unfolded in phases. First came the Vrek's demand for surrender and the handover of the Aloran delegation. Captain Kim responded by activating the modified gravity generators, creating a distortion field around Unity Station. The unexpected tactic confused the Vrek sensors, giving the station precious minutes to deploy its defensive measures. The maintenance drones, reprogrammed for combat, carried EMP generators into position. When triggered, they created cascading electromagnetic pulses that disrupted Vrek's targeting systems. 3 of the smaller Vrek's vessels lost power, temporarily drifting out of formation. The Vreks responded with precision firing patterns designed to overwhelm the station's shields, but Lieutenant Patel had anticipated this, redirecting shield power in an unpredictable sequence that confused the automated VREX system's Unity Station. Took damage, but its core remained intact. On the bridge, Samantha coordinated with Tactical, deploying the station's limited offensive capabilities at moments of maximum effectiveness. The human crew innovated in real-time, adjusting strategies as they learned Vrek's patterns. Captain Kim directed the battle with calm authority, her earlier distrust of the Alorans set aside in the face of a common enemy. Hours passed in a dance of attack and defense. The Vreks clearly hadn't expected such resistance from what they considered a primitive species. Their formation began to falter as human unpredictability disrupted their carefully programmed battle plans. Finally, after what seemed like eternity, the Vrek's vessels regrouped at a distance. The largest ship transmitted a final message. This action violates containment protocols. The Aloran confluence will answer for this breach. The human system remains under quarantine restriction. We will return, in greater numbers. Then the Vrek's fleet departed, accelerating rapidly until they vanished from sensor range. Unity Station had survived, but not without cost. Several sections had lost atmosphere. Emergency teams worked to seal breaches and treat injured crew members. The outer ring had taken significant damage, requiring months of repairs. Samantha made her way back to the diplomatic quarters, finding Lyra and her delegation monitoring the situation on data screens. "Your people fought magnificently," Lyra said, looking up as Samantha entered. "The Vreks expected surrender or destruction. They did not expect innovation. We have a saying," Samantha said, collapsing into a chair, exhaustion finally catching up with her. "Necessity is the mother of invention. The Vreks will return with greater numbers." Lyra's voice was heavy with concern. "This was merely a scouting force. Then we'll be ready." Samantha straightened despite her fatigue. "And we won't be alone, will we?" For the first time since the battle began, Lyra's expression lightened. "The Aloran confluence stands with humanity. I stand with you." The days following the Vrek's attack were filled with frantic activity. Repair crews worked around the clock to stabilize damaged sections of Unity Station. Earth governments held emergency sessions to process the reality of hostile alien contact, and Captain Kim coordinated with Earth Command on defense strategies. Amid the chaos, Samantha found herself in a unique position. The trust she had built with Lyra made her the natural conduit between humans and Alorans as they worked together to prepare for the inevitable return of the Vreks. "We need to know everything about them," Samantha said during a strategy session with Lyra and the Aloran delegation. "How many ships do they have? What are their weapons capabilities? Their weaknesses?" Lyra activated a holographic display showing a star map. The Vrek's Imperium controls 17 systems in this sector of the galaxy. Their fleet consists of approximately 200 vessels of varying sizes and capabilities. The human officers present exchanged alarmed glances. 200 vessels, Lieutenant Walsh whispered. "What chance do we have against that? We have advantages the Vreks do not expect," Lyra continued. "The Vreks rely on technological superiority and rigid battle doctrine. They have not faced a species like humanity in 10,000 years. Their tactics have grown predictable, their innovation stagnant." Samantha studied the star map, noticing the position of Earth relative to Vrek's territory. "They would have to cross significant distance to reach us." "Correct," Lyra confirmed. When Samantha gave her a surprised look, she added, "Your thoughts are particularly clear to me now." Samantha weighed. The brief contact we shared has created a resonance between us. Captain Kim raised an eyebrow, but focused on the tactical situation. The distance gives us time to prepare. How long before they can mobilize a full fleet? The Vrex High Command must debate, authorize, and organize such an action, Lyra explained. This requires time, even for them. I estimate 3 of your months, perhaps 4. 3 months to prepare for an interstellar war. Samantha said, the weight of it settling on her shoulders. Lyra's cosmic eyes met hers. It is enough time if we work together. The Aloran confluence will send additional diplomatic vessels with technical advisors. Our expertise combined with human adaptability gives us a fighting chance. The meeting continued with detailed discussions of Vrex technology, defense strategies, and resource allocation throughout. Samantha found herself increasingly aware of Lyra's presence. The connection between them had deepened since their brief physical contact during the battle. Her thoughts seemed to resonate with the Aloran woman's, creating a subtle harmony she had never experienced with another being. That evening, after the strategy sessions had concluded, Samantha found Lyra in the observation lounge. The Aloran stood looking out at the stars, her tall frame silhouetted against the cosmic backdrop. Earth is beautiful from here, Lyra said without turning. It reminds me of my homeworld when viewed from our outer moon. The same delicate balance of land and water, cloud and light. You miss it, Samantha said, moving to stand beside her. I have been away longer than this, Lyra replied. But yes, there is a particular quality to the light of one's home star that cannot be replicated. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment before Samantha spoke. What happens now? Between our peoples, between the confluence and humanity, Lyra turned those cosmic eyes toward her. The Vrex attack has accelerated matters. The confluence will formally offer alliance with Earth, providing technology and knowledge to help defend against the Imperium. In return, we ask only that humanity remember its unique gifts as it joins the galactic community. Its gifts, Samantha asked. Your creativity, your adaptability, your capacity for innovation under pressure. These qualities are rare among spacefaring civilizations. Most achieve stability at the cost of stagnation, and humanity burns brightly. Lyra said, her voice taking on that musical quality Samantha had come to cherish. You accomplish so much in your brief lives, feel so deeply, dream so boldly. The galaxy needs this spirit especially. Now Samantha felt herself drawn closer to the Aloran woman. And what happens between us? Lyra's facial ridges rippled with what Samantha now recognized as emotional intensity. That depends on many factors, including your wishes. Commander Wade. The resonance between us is unusual. A diplomatic complication, perhaps, or a diplomatic opportunity. Samantha suggested. A soft sound like wind chimes filled the space as Lyra made what might have been a laugh. Indeed, the confluence would view it as such. Connection between different species is valued among my people. Samantha reached out slowly, giving Lyra time to withdraw if she wished. When the Aloran remained still, Samantha gently placed her hand over Lyra's. The now familiar tingle of contact spread up her arm, but this time it was less overwhelming, more like a warm current flowing between them. Among humans, Samantha said softly, this kind of connection is valued too. They remained that way for several moments. Hands joined as they looked out at the stars. Then Lyra spoke, her voice carrying unusual emotion. I have lived 400 years, Samantha Wade. I have visited 12 worlds and negotiated 23 diplomatic agreements. But I have never encountered a being who resonates with my consciousness, as you do. What does it mean? Lyra turned, facing Samantha fully. Among my people, such resonance is rare even between Alorans. It suggests a compatibility of thought patterns, emotional responses, a harmony of consciousness. Those who experience it often form lifelong bonds. Samantha felt her pulse quicken. Bonds, partnerships, Lyra clarified. What humans might call marriage, though, without your species' focus on reproduction. The joining of lives, minds, and purpose. Samantha managed, suddenly very aware of their height difference and the exotic beauty of the alien woman before her. Lyra's expression shifted to concern. I have spoken too directly, Human diplomatic protocols suggest a more gradual approach to such matters. No, Samantha said, finding her voice. It's not that I'm just surprised I didn't think it would be possible between different species. The universe contains many possibilities. Lyra said, her six-fingered hand gently squeezing Samantha's. Not all of them discovered yet. Their conversation was interrupted by Captain Kim's voice over the communication system. Commander Wade, report to the communications center. Immediately. Message from Earth command duty calls. Samantha said reluctantly, withdrawing her hand. Indeed, Lyra agreed. We have much to discuss later. Samantha Wade in the communications center. Captain Kim waited with a grim expression. The holographic display showed Admiral Carter, head of Earth Defense Command. His weathered face looked tired but determined. Commander Wade, the Admiral nodded. Good. The President has approved Operation Starshield, a joint human Ellerin defense initiative. You will serve as liaison coordinating between our forces and the Ellerin advisors arriving next week. Sir, Samantha acknowledged. What are our priorities? First, establishing an early warning network. Admiral Carter replied. Second, upgrading our existing space vessels with Ellerin shield technology. Third, designing and constructing dedicated defense platforms the Ellerins have offered significant technical assistance, but implementation falls to us. We'll need to coordinate with all space-capable nations. Samantha said Earth hadn't achieved true global unity, yet political rivalries remained a potential complication. Already in progress, the Admiral confirmed. The Vrex threat has accomplished what decades of diplomacy couldn't. World leaders are cooperating out of necessity. A unified Earth Defense Force is being established with multinational command. Captain Kim stepped forward. Unity Station will serve as the coordination center for these efforts. We're best positioned for direct work with the Ellerins. Correct, Admiral Carter nodded. The station will be repaired and expanded. Additional personnel and resources are en route. You'll be receiving visitors from every major nation, Commander Wade. I suggest you prepare. The next 2 weeks transformed. Unity Station military personnel arrived alongside scientists, engineers, and diplomats from nations around the world. The original scientific mission evolved into something new, a center for humanity's first United Space Defense Initiative. Samantha found herself working 18-hour days coordinating between human teams and Ellerin advisors. The Ellerin delegation had expanded as promised, with technical specialists arriving in 3 additional ships. Their presence caused initial tension among some human military officers, but Samantha bridged the gap using her understanding of both cultures to facilitate cooperation. Throughout it all, her connection with Lyra deepened. They found moments together between crisis meetings and planning sessions, their conversations ranging from personal to philosophical. Each contact between them strengthened the resonance Lyra had described until Samantha could sometimes sense the Ellerins' emotional state without physical touch. One night, after a particularly challenging coordination meeting, they stood together on the newly repaired observation deck. Earth gleamed below while construction vehicles moved around the station installing new defense systems. We've accomplished much in little time, Lyra observed. The first defensive satellites are already operational. Humans work well under pressure, Samantha said. Pride in her species' accomplishments mixing with exhaustion. Lyra moved closer, her tall form casting Samantha in shadow. You particularly, Samantha Wade. Your ability to bridge understanding between our peoples has been essential to this progress. Couldn't have done it without you, Samantha admitted, turning to face the Ellerin woman. You've shown incredible patience with human stubbornness. 3 weeks stretched like years for Samantha. Unity Station had transformed into the headquarters of Earth's first unified space defense force, with representatives from every spacefaring nation working alongside Ellerin technical advisors. The station had been expanded with new modules dedicated to weapons development, defense coordination, and diplomatic functions. Samantha threw herself into her work, overseeing the integration of Ellerin technology with human systems. The resonance Lyra had spoken of remained a constant presence, like a song just beyond hearing. She found herself turning to share observations with someone who wasn't there, reaching for a hand that was light years away. Commander, you need rest, Dr. Lee said, finding Samantha reviewing shield specifications at 3 in the morning. You've been working non-stop since the Elorans left. Not all the Elorans, Samantha corrected. The technical team remained. Only the diplomatic delegation returned to prepare for the formal alliance. The doctor gave her a knowing look. You miss her? The first voice, is it that obvious? Samantha asked with a tired smile. Only to everyone on the station? Dr. Lee replied gently. Your connection with First Voice? Lyra transcended professional, diplomatic relations. Samantha sighed. It's complicated. She's not human. Her lifespan. Her culture. Yet you found common ground, Dr. Lee observed. The resonance she spoke of. It seems to bridge those differences. Before Samantha could respond, alarms sounded. Throughout the station, a voice came over the communication system. All senior staff to the command center. Priority alert from the outer system. Defense network. Samantha and Dr. Lee exchanged alarmed glances before rushing to the command center. Captain Kim stood before the main display, her expression grim as data streamed across multiple screens. Multiple objects detected crossing Neptune's orbit. Captain Kim announced as Samantha entered, moving at sublight speed toward Earth. Initial count. 17 vessels, configuration unknown. Vrex. Samantha asked, her heart racing. Negative, Lieutenant Walsh replied from the tactical station. Propulsion signature doesn't match Virex profiles from Eloran data. These are different. On screen. Captain Kim ordered. The display shifted, showing grainy images captured by the outer system sensors. The approaching vessels had an organic appearance with flowing lines and pulsing lights along their hulls. Unlike the angular geometric designs of Vrex ships, not Eleron either, Samantha noted, studying the images. Communications is detecting a signal, Captain Lieutenant Patel reported. It's broadcasting on all frequencies. Put it through, Captain Kim ordered. The speakers came to life with a strange harmonic sequence that seemed to resonate in Samantha's chest rather than her ears. The sound carried meaning somehow, though not in words. The closest approximation might be greetings, caution, approach. Neutral? How are we understanding this? Samantha wondered aloud. Dr. Lee stepped forward, activating one of the medical scanners. The signal contains bioelectric patterns, similar to those the Elorans use for their secondary communication. The resonance between you and First Voice Lyra may be allowing you to interpret it, Commander. The resonance. Samantha closed her eyes, focusing on the strange harmony. The signal repeated, adding new layers, greetings, caution, approach, neutral, request, dialogue, unity. They want to talk to us, Samantha said, opening her eyes. They're broadcasting a request for dialogue, and they specifically mentioned Unity Station. Can we respond? Captain Kim asked. Samantha considered for a moment. If the signal uses bioelectric patterns similar to Eloran communication, perhaps we could modify our transmitters to mimic those patterns. Lieutenant Patel nodded, already making adjustments. We can try to replicate the harmonic structure. Work with Commander Wade, Captain Kim ordered. Then to Samantha. Who are they? Why now? I'm not certain. Samantha replied. But the timing suggests they might be responding to the Vrex attack. Perhaps another faction in galactic politics, or reinforcements. Lieutenant Walsh suggested, we won't know until we establish communication. Captain Kim said, maintain defense alert status, but hold fire. All construction vehicles are to dock immediately. Clear the space around the station for the next hour. Samantha worked with Lieutenant Patel, modifying the station's communication array to broadcast a response. Their message was simple. Welcome, caution, approach, limited Unity Station coordinates. The signal was sent toward the approaching vessels, which had now crossed Jupiter's orbit. The response came almost immediately, a complex harmony that seemed to flow directly into Samantha's mind. The approximate meaning. Understand, approach. Slow 2 vessels only, peaceful intent. They're sending 2 ships ahead of the main fleet, Samantha translated. The rest will hold position. Captain Kim nodded. Acceptable terms. Lieutenant Walsh maintain. Weapons lock but power down targeting systems. Send the response, Commander. 2 days later, Unity Station prepared to receive yet another alien delegation. Defense platforms surrounded the station ready to respond if the newcomers proved hostile. But Samantha felt a strange certainty that these visitors came in peace. The approaching vessels were smaller than the Aloran ships, with a bioluminescent hull that pulsed with changing patterns. As they neared the station, Samantha felt a gentle pressure, in her mind like a question seeking permission. "They're requesting docking protocol," she told Captain Kim. The captain hesitated only briefly before nodding. "Transmit standard approach vectors and atmospheric specifications." When the airlock opened, Samantha stood with Captain Kim and a small reception team. The first being to emerge was unlike anything Samantha had imagined. Tall and slender with 4 arms and iridescent skin that shifted colors with its movements. Its face featured compound eyes and delicate antennae that moved constantly sampling the air. Its mouth didn't move as a harmonic tone filled the docking bay greetings. Unity Station humans' gratitude for welcome caution understood. Somehow Samantha understood perfectly. "Welcome." To Unity Station, she responded. "I am Commander Samantha Wade, Liaison Officer." The being's skin shifted to a deep blue with golden patterns. Harmony connection recognized, Eloran resonance detected. The creature could sense her connection to Lyra. Samantha realized with surprise. A second being emerged similar to the first but with subtle differences in coloration and pattern. "We are the Mithran Collective," the harmonic voice continued. "We observe, we witness, we record. The Vrex move against balance. New voices must be heard. Human voices, Eleron voices in concert. The Mithrans are historians," Captain Kim whispered to Samantha. "They monitor galactic events, more than observe." First Mithran corrected its antennae quivering. "We preserve balance. When the Vrex bring war, we bring knowledge. When isolation is forced, we bring connection. The confluence understands, the humans must understand." "What must we understand?" Samantha asked. "The galaxy stands at transition point." Second, Mithran explained. "The Vrex fear change, seeks stasis control. The confluence seeks harmony, gradual evolution. The humans represent catalyst element, unpredictable, creative, adaptive." First Mithran's skin rippled with patterns like flowing water. "The Mithran Collective has observed humanity for 700 cycles. We have watched your art, your wars, your dreams, your failures. You grow quickly, evolve rapidly. Sometimes wisdom lags behind capability. That's why you've revealed yourselves now?" Samantha guessed. "Because of the Vrex threat, because of possibility." First Mithran corrected. "We bring warning. Vrex fleet assembles 30 vessels, approach within 14 cycles. We bring opportunity, alliance beyond Eloran confluence. Other voices seek new harmony. Humans included." Captain Kim stepped forward. "You're proposing a broader alliance against the Vrex, not against Second Mithran's harmonics, shifted to a minor key for balance. The Vrex perspective has value, control, stability, order. These have place, but not dominance. The Vrex would suppress the fire of young species. The fire that renews the galaxy. It's not just about Earth." Samantha realized, studying the shifting patterns on the Mithran's skin. It's about the future of the galaxy itself. First, Mithran's antennae quivered in what might have been approval. "The resonance with Eloran consciousness serves you well, Samantha Wade. You perceive patterns, connections. The Eloran first voice chose wisely. The diplomatic discussions with the Mithrans continued for days, revealing a complex galactic political landscape. The Vrex Imperium represented order and stability, but had grown rigid and controlling over millennia. The Eloran confluence valued harmony and gradual evolution, maintaining balance between tradition and progress. Several other factions existed, each with their own philosophical approach to civilization. The Mithrans themselves claimed neutrality. Their self-appointed role was to observe, record, and occasionally intervene when balance tilted too far in any direction. They had revealed themselves now because they believed humanity represented an important new voice in galactic affairs. As the discussions progressed, Unity Station received word that the Aloran diplomatic fleet was approaching, led by Lyra's vessel. Samantha found her heart racing at the news. The resonance between them seemed to strengthen as the distance decreased. When Lyra's ship docked, Samantha was waiting. Her breath caught at the sight of the tall Aloran woman emerging from the airlock. Lyra's cosmic eyes immediately found Samantha's across the docking bay, and something passed between them, a wordless recognition. "The Mithrans are here," Samantha said when they finally stood face to face. "I know," Lyra replied, her melodic voice washing over Samantha like a balm. The Confluence received their message. "We come prepared for expanded alliance discussions."